Welcome to Unscripted. This is Take Two with Jerry and Debbie. I'm Debbie Georgiani. Jerry Usher is traveling today, so we just wish him safe travels back home to the West Coast. But this is your show, Unscripted. That's the monthly show where it's an open forum where you can call in, you can revisit past shows, you can suggest future topics, you can bring up really anything that's on your mind or your heart, and we'll be happy to have a discussion about it. So this is your show, Take Two with Jerry and Debbie, Unscripted, and it's Friday. So glad it's Friday. So I wanted to bring on the show with me today because Jerry is traveling, and I hope he's listening. Hi, Jerry. Safe travels. We're praying for you. But I wanted to bring on a friend of mine who I really respect in the catechetical world, if you ministry, if you will. And I wanted to bring him on because I thought it would be a fun Friday for us to do Unscripted together. And so I want to introduce you to him. But before I do, just keep in mind that this is a very fast-paced show. So if you want to get on the show, call in at 1-800-585-9396. The phone lines are already starting to light up, which means you have something to say, because this is definitely the forum to do it. 1-800-585-9396. Or you can text us. You text the letters EWTN to 55000. Wait for a response and put your first name in, your question or your comment, and we'll be happy to address it on the show. But please, if you want to get on, if you feel nudged by the Spirit, now is the time to call in 1-800-585-9396. Okay, I want to introduce my friend who actually lives in the same town I do in Arizona, Gilbert, Arizona. And Tom Perna is joining me today, and he's the Director of Adult Evangelization and Catechesis at St. Mary Magdalene Catholic Church in Gilbert, Arizona. Tom holds a bachelor's in philosophy, a master's in education, and also obtained a master's in theology from Franciscan University of Steubenville. And he has a wonderful website, tomperna.org, and he's an accomplished writer and speaker and great catechetical leader. But he's also the author of the popular blog Mondays with Mary, and that's what we wanted to kind of introduce today because it actually references yesterday's show. So, without further ado, I wanted to welcome Tom Perna to Take Two. Hi, Tom.
Hi, Debbie. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
Good, great. Thanks for having me on the show today.
Well, thank you for making time. I know you're busy teaching all around the Diocese of Phoenix, and I know that. And so thank you for taking this hour. It should be rather quick, but I wanted to bring you on, Tom, because I thought of you immediately when we did yesterday's show, and we were talking about reading between the social media lines. And it was rather interesting. And we had a lot of Facebook posts and a lot of our listeners, because remember, Take Two is really driven by our listeners and our callers. And so they weighed in and they said, for October being the 100-year anniversary of Our Lady of Fatima and the apparitions when she appeared to the shepherd children, why not just blitz social media with images of Our Lady? And at first, when I thought about it, Tom, I thought, wow, this is really exciting. We could have it in front of, on everybody's computer screen and everything. And then there was a couple comments that came in and thought that was not maybe the proper use of social media. So I wanted to bring you on, but given that you have that popular blog, Mondays with Mary, what do you think about that, Tom, about us, just making October where we just totally, occupy social media with images of our Blessed Mother?
Well, I think it's okay as long as it's done correctly. And what I mean by that is I think if you're going to post pictures, you need to do some catechesis with those pictures. I wouldn't just post random photos of the Blessed Mother. I would do some research on those photos and maybe try to evangelize and catechize at the same time people on Facebook or social media and explain what those images actually mean and why, who's the artist, what's the artist trying to portray with that image. If it has something to do with the Immaculate Conception or the Assumption, it's those images that are usually associated with them. Put a link to a Catholic blog or a Catholic website that focuses on, like an article that focuses on specifically on that doctrine. So I wouldn't just, it sounds like a great idea. I don't know if I would do it. If I did it, I'd probably do it one time a day, maybe a particular time of the day. Pick whenever you want to do, whatever day, whatever time of the day, and go from there. But it's not a bad idea. October obviously being the month of the Rosary, it's the 100th anniversary of Fatima. It's an important thing, and I think it's important for us to get Mary out there. Blitzing or blitzkrieging Facebook. It's really kind of up to what someone wants to do on their personal page, really.
Right. Well,
but
actually,
if they're going to do it, I would add if they're going to do it, I would add catechesis to it. I would add an explanation of the picture.
Well, Tom, as soon as you said that, it resonated with me perfectly, and I thought, okay, that is brilliant, absolutely. So just to copy and paste a picture may not do it, and it actually may be offensive, possibly to some people. But to have like a little catechetical lesson with it, or a better understanding of that image, you're right. That speaks volumes. Yeah, I love that. Oh, see, I knew, Tom, already having you on was a perfect choice.
And I would say if people are afraid to lose Facebook friends, then they lose Facebook friends. I don't even know what that phrase means anymore,
Right.
Because I have friends on Facebook that I haven't spoken to in 10 years. So, you see them on Facebook, so I wouldn't worry about losing friends on Facebook.
Right.
Sometimes when we speak the truth about our Lord, that stuff's going to happen. So I wouldn't worry about it.
That's true. Okay. Good advice. Well, this is your show, Take Two. This is Unscripted. It's Friday, and this is the monthly Unscripted where you can ask anything, maybe revisit past shows. Jerry Usher's traveling, so I asked my friend Tom Perna to jump in and be part of this wonderful show. We're going to go right to the phones as soon as we come back. So there's an open phone line if you want to jump in at 1-800-585-9396. When we come back, we're going right to what you want to talk about.
Colin Donovan.
Entering university, I had the religious understanding of someone catechized in the 1960s. That changed when a fellow freshman asked me if a Catholic could use the pill. My uninformed answer was, sure, why not? I then went and read Pope Paul VI's encyclical Humanae Vitae and concluded, this is truth. I've never looked back in my love of our Catholic faith since.
Open Line with Colin Donovan. Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern on EWTN Radio.
Christ is the Answer with Father John Riccardo.
John 14. This is Jesus in the upper room with the disciples before he's going out to his sacrifice of himself for our salvation. And Philip says to the Lord, show us the Father and we'll be satisfied. Jesus looks at Philip and says, Philip, have I been with you all this time? Don't you understand? When you see me, you're looking at the Father. In fact, only two people throughout human history have given rise to the question, not who is he, but what is he? The two people are Buddha and Jesus. Buddha's answer was, don't come to me, don't look to me, look to my doctrine, look to what I teach. Jesus' answer was, come to me, all you who are weary and heavy laden, and take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and humble of heart. Jesus is explicitly claiming to be God.
EWTN Radio Classics is our 24/7 teaching and devotionals channel straight from the EWTN archives. Go Classic with EWTN Radio Classics online at EWTNradio.net and on the EWTN app.
This is Dr. Greg Popchak.
And Lisa Popchak.
This is Chris Stefanik, host of Real Life Catholic.
This is Archbishop Samuel Aquila from the Archdiocese of Denver. And thank you for listening to EWTN Radio.
Okay, we're going right to the phones on Unscripted to hear what you have to say. Again, Jerry Usher's traveling, so please say an extra prayer for him that he gets safely back to the West Coast. And Tom Perna's with us today, so you can ask him a question as well. Brett, you're first up in Minnesota listening on iHeartRadio app. Hi, Brett. Welcome to Take Two with Jerry and Debbie.
Hi, Debbie.
Hi.
Thanks for doing all you do for your show. It's I listen pretty regular, but I usually do it at night while I'm at work. So, but I was happy to hear the open forum today because I got kind of a short story that I want to tell.
Okay. Yes, and thank you for the kind words. But you go right ahead, Brett.
Thank you. About the past 2 years or so, I was kind of drawn towards the Catholic faith, and Ewtn has been such a great teacher of that. And during this time, I decided I'm 38 years old, and I've decided to start dating around for the first time, and I went to Catholic sites for that, and I've had several relationships, but I just recently started one a few months ago with a wonderful woman named Anna, and she was a Catholic chaplain at a hospital. She was going through training for that, and she's helped teach me so much about the faith. And at the same time, I've prayed to God to send me someone like this, and He finally did. And she's just everything about her has just been wonderful. And she's attending a theology school now in Minnesota, and it's about 2 hours away from where I am, and I drive there almost every weekend just to see her and spend time with her. And we always go to Mass. We always pray the Rosary. All these things I've never done with someone else before, so she's come very close to my heart. And just 2 days ago, she kind of hit me with something I wasn't expecting. She said that she's strongly feeling a call to the religious life now, and that she doesn't think we'll be able to continue that kind of a relationship. And it really shocked me. I mean, I was physically sick for the past couple of days. I haven't been able to eat much or anything, and it's just been a hard thing to handle. But what kind of got me was that she didn't really say much about this before, but she's also done this once before. She was at a convent about 10 years ago. For a couple of years, she was a novice, and her superior told her that she had a vocation somewhere else, and she pursued that. But now she's going back to it, and I really want to be happy for her, but it's just at the expense of my own emotions. And I was wondering if we could just kind of looking for prayers today, and just any kind of advice to help me get through this. It's been extremely difficult.
Well, Brett, first of all, definitely prayers are with you. I mean, that's got to be really emotionally tugging at you because you've experienced this relationship with her, and she's a godly woman, and so you've shared all these wonderful spiritual things. And then, for her, you want it's bittersweet because you want to be happy for her vocational call to religious life, but yet there's that sadness inside of your heart because you know what that relationship could be or was developing to be for the two of you, and now that's something that may not happen. I want to actually turn this over to Tom because Tom, you're a single male and you're in the dating world, and so Tom, can you offer some kind of just pastoral advice to Brett?
Yeah, Brett, I'd pray for you as well. That's not easy. I actually did the same thing to someone over 10 years ago. I was dating a young woman at the time, and I felt a calling to discern seminary. Long story short, I didn't go into seminary. Just through the application process, I realized it wasn't the vocation that the Lord had set out for me. But if I think you have to kind of pull back a little bit, as hard as it is, and trust me, I know I've been through plenty of relationships. Pull back a little bit, let her discern, let her kind of, decide if this is God's will for her life, if this is her vocation. And it's hard. Look, man, I can tell you, it's not easy. We're not far apart in age. I'm 43, so I know what it's like to be single at that age. So, but I would just pull back the reins a little bit and just give her that space. And if it's meant to be that she goes into religious life, I would imagine the Lord will have someone else planned for you. I am currently dating someone I recently met, actually kind of funny, at a Catholic beer club here in Phoenix. And I don't know if where you live has something like that. It's not for single. I mean, there's singles there, and they don't promote like meeting people, but it's a great environment to hang out with other young adults and to meet other men and women that are Catholic in your area. So that's something I would suggest, just because it's, and again, her and I met there, and we've been dating now for almost a couple of months, and it's going really well. Probably the best relationship I've ever had on so many levels. She's a great Catholic woman, and I'm kind of getting broken up just talking about her, but because it's really going well, and I really like spending time with her. So just kind of pull back the reins a little bit on your situation. Give her some time, give her some space, pray for her, and let God's will be done.
Right. What do you think, Brett?
I think that sounds very helpful and good advice. The good news is that she still wants to continue to be friends and so forth, and I think that's really great. I still have a lot of love for her, and I want to support her, and this is kind of what I was looking for to help me get through this, and I know in time it will get better.
Yeah, and you're not alone, Brett. You're not alone. I mean, this happens to a lot of people that date, whether females going into religious life or young men going into the seminary. The thing about it is, you're not going to be able to stop those sad emotions that you're feeling. But I would also, I totally agree with what Tom has to say, but I would also too just dive into your own spirituality, because you'll tap into that source of strength through your own progression as a Christian. I'm a firm believer that whenever life kind of throws you a little bit of a curveball, when you dive into your faith, when you dive into your spirituality, you come out of it much stronger, and you learn a lot, and you look back and you say, wow, I can do this, and I'm doing it with the Lord. So I don't know if that speaks to you at all, Brett, but that's what I'm going to be praying for you, and keep us posted, because we're with you, and like Tom said, and he feels for you, and we all do, and so we're together in this. So just know that prayers are all around you, Brett.
Thank you, and thank you to all the Take Two family. It's wonderful. I pray for everyone else too. Pray regularly.
Thank you, Brett. Thank you. You're a good man. You're a good man. Thank you so much. Okay, we're going to go ahead, and we have one open phone line if you want to jump in at 1-800-585-9396. But the Take Two family, please say an extra prayer for Brett today, and also pray that his guardian angel is with him and comforting him during this time, because it's tough. Tom, I think you shared it very, very honestly. It's a tough situation to be in, but we're going to go ahead and move. Go ahead, Tom.
It's never easy. That's a hard situation to be in. But I think if he just, like you said, focuses on his prayer life, and if he's still listening, I would say, adoration as well. Spend time in adoration with our Lord.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I learned so many things sitting in front of the Blessed Sacrament. Okay, Carol.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's amazing what you learn. Carol, you're up next in calling in from Wisconsin. Hi, Carol. Welcome to Take Two with Jerry and Debbie and our guest, Tom Perna.
Yes, good morning. Thank you for all the work you do, and this is a great show. And my heart goes out to Brett, and the only thing I think he can do is in some ways, is she's telling you who she is, and he doesn't take it too personal, Mm-hmm. Anyway, so I was going to thank you for the topic of putting Mary out there, during this month of October, and as an artist that I've done several pro-life images and then images of Mary, and it's very difficult to find the right scripture or words to that you want to put with the image, and I don't know if you have the advice as to how you research it, because as an artist you might have an intent of what you're trying to share in a religious way or spiritual way, and yet if you pick a scripture that it might not resonate with the viewer. So the latest one I did was to commemorate the 100-year anniversary of Fatima, and I didn't somehow when I was working, I didn't put a crown on Mary's head as the traditional statue show, but there was kind of an open lacy grid by her heart that looked like her heart was open, like a passage for people to come in. And I was surprised when I made it that it came out that way. But it was also like an invitation to get to Mary's heart. So I liked it, but I don't know what scripture or, if I would put any other quote with it. And so I research everything before I would put any words or scripture, psalms with it, etc.
Well, Carol, let me throw that back over to Tom. But Tom, why don't maybe you could share some of your go-to sites? I'm sure you have to have a list of resources when you're doing Mondays with Mary. Maybe you could share some with Carol and our listeners of reliable sources that you use.
Yeah, the one I think, Carol, that might help is there's the University of Dayton, and they have a whole website that's all associated with the Blessed Mother, where I get a lot of my information from when I write my blogs. If you just Google University of Dayton and Blessed Mother or Blessed Virgin Mary, I would imagine it'll come up on the Google search pretty quickly.
Mm-hmm. Great.
I would encourage you also to check out my Mondays with Mary series. I've got over, I can't remember. I think there's like 275 blog posts on Mary. And a few of them I've used a lot of times. I use sacred art and stuff that I find on Wikipedia as to not infringe on copyright laws. And there's plenty of images on there as well, and things places I've drawn from. So I would check that out as well. And then I don't think Catholic Answers might. I don't know. I'm not sure if Catholic Answers would have anything, but even if you just Google like websites for the Blessed Virgin Mary, those might come up as well. I mean, you might just have other sites, other places to look for. The internet is like it's great, and it's we spend so much time on it, but it's also a great resource too. And I think we have access to things that we never had access to before. Many years ago. I remember growing up in the 80s and thinking I had to go to the library and research everything. But now I can just open up my computer and find stuff. So I would try those sites, and on my blog is a way to get a hold of me if you are having any difficulty finding stuff. There's my email's on my About page. Feel free to email me, and I can help you out, too, during my free time.
Oh, thank you so much. Have a great day. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Carol. God bless you. Thank you so much. Yeah, I love Catholic.com, Catholic Answers website, EWTN. Yeah. There's so many, you're so right, Tom. There are so many ways to have approved reliable sources that we can use in when we're blogging or in catechetical arenas, and any which way we are using to evangelize. There's great trusted resources now. So I agree with you, Tom. It is absolutely.
I'm sorry. And most of the times when I look for prayers, EWTN.com is where I go. So
yep, me too.
That's my when I need a prayer to put online. One of my blog posts, that's usually where I go to.
Right. I know. Same here. Well, Tom Pern is our guest today, and he's the Director of Adult Evangelization and Catechesis at St. Mary Magdalene Catholic Church in Gilbert, Arizona. That's where I live, Gilbert, Arizona. I hear Gilbert's like the one of the most prosperous cities in the country, and it's kind of exciting to we both live in the same town, and it's growing rapidly. A lot of young families. So great parish that Tom works at, St. Mary Magdalene. But he's our guest today, and he's sitting in and Unscripted. Jerry Usher is traveling, and we're just turning the phones over to you. This is your show where you can talk about previous shows. You can address topics that maybe we didn't quite cover in depth because of time, or you can suggest future topics. We have been using your topics that you suggest via Facebook, and when you email us, you can email us at take2@ewtn.com. We've been implementing them. Like we've had a couple folks ask us to do a show on codependency, and we just did a show on codependency. So see, we listen to you. So please make sure, if you're feeling that nudge of the Spirit, call in and share what's on your mind and heart at 1-800-585-9396. Or you can text us. Don't forget, you text the letters EWTN to 55000. But better yet, Matt Gabinski wants to hear your voice. So call in at 1-800-585-9396. When we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about the Feast of the Archangels. We've got an interesting question that came in via Facebook.
Marriage is for better or for worse. The young and foolish never think for worse will ever come. We enter marriage thinking our spouses are going to be the balm for all our wounds. Sometimes they are. Other times, a spouse is like the diagnosing hand pushing on your arm to see exactly where it's broken. Ouch! But the goal is your healing. Divorce statistics are often misunderstood. About 50% of people who enter marriage, they don't end up divorced. 50% of marriages end up in divorce because so many people get married and divorced multiple times. God keeps trying to heal them again and again through the person they fall in love with, but when the pain comes, they take off again. When you're facing hard times and romantic phrases feel forced, try these words: I will never leave you. That's a more profound expression of love than you could have ever uttered when you were young and infatuated. And your faithfulness is also how God will heal you. This is Chris Stefanik from RealLifeCatholic.com on EWTN Radio.
We know you like listening to Take Two with Jerry and Debbie on EWTN Radio, but have you thought about bringing them to your next event? No matter what type of event you're hosting, parish mission, conference, or retreat, trust Jerry and Debbie to make it come alive. Begin the process today of taking your presentation to the next level of success. For information on booking Jerry and Debbie, visit take2show.com, click on the J&D logo.
The wisdom of Mother Angelica.
I have never seen women who want to be equal absolutely degrading themselves. And yet the media degrades your nature, your beauty as a woman, your goodness. Let us pray at some point our dear Lord touches their hearts.
For more information on Mother Angelica, visit Religious Catalog at EWTNRC.com.
EWTN. Live truth. Live Catholic.
I love Unscripted. That's where we just let you share what's on your mind and your heart, and it's great because we can have these great conversations. 1-800-585-9396. Joe, hold on a little longer, just a little bit, because we had a Facebook post come in, and I want to give Tom a chance to address this. I know I really want to address it. Joseph wrote in, actually it's YouTube. Joseph sent a message through YouTube saying, "Hi, I'm a new watcher. I would like to hear more about how men and women can become an archangel. I read this morning, and it seems like a powerful concept." Joseph, I hate to burst your bubble. I know this is the Feast of the Archangels today. Human beings cannot become archangels. Tom, I'll let you go first. I've studied angels for over 13 years, but I'll let you comment on this first.
Well, you would be the best person to answer this question, but yes, you're right. We are not, when we die, contrary to popular belief with Hollywood, we do not become angels. We are saints here on earth, and we are saints in heaven. Angel is actually the name of their office, not of their nature. So it's, and angels are pure spirit, where we are body and spirit. Unfortunately, not unfortunately, we have our role. But, I think people have this belief, they watch these movies where human beings are angels. And they think, I'm going to become an angel. When you see that, even even when people pass away, people, even you see it on social media, you see it on emails, people are like, oh, heaven gained another angel. And, I think it's kind of maybe people trying to, I don't know, maybe trying to be poetic in some sense, but you want to say to people, and I think that's what we have to do. We have to explain to people that we don't become angels. We're saints.
Right.
Angels have a specific role, as do we.
Mm-hmm.
And so angels, it's unfortunate. I mean, not unfortunate. I keep saying unfortunate, but right. We have our role. So you're
well
probably
said.
Better.
Nope. Well said, Tom. I wanted you to be able to comment on it. Absolutely. And so we must know our roles, and that's I think you said it so beautifully, and so it's important for us to understand that. And yes, you answered that perfectly. We have a text that came in from Mark. Mark, I'm going to answer this a little bit later because I know that Tom is a football fan as well. Mark asked, how does Debbie feel about the NFL players taking the knee? I guess that's during the anthem. So I'm going to address that a little later because Tom, I'm 100% Sicilian. I don't want to get my blood pressure going too high. Right at in the middle of the show. I'll wait till the end of the show.
Yeah.
But
and
Joe's
I have American flag bumper stickers on my car. So.
Oh, do you really? Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Okay. But Joe's been waiting so patiently in Indiana, listening on Redeemer Radio. So we're going to bring him on. Hi, Joe. Welcome to Take Two.
Hello.
Hi, Joe. You're on the air.
Hi. I just wanted to talk about throw out a couple comments toward the Brett, and I just wanted to pass on. I can understand your hurt. The hurt radiates through the radio, but to give up somebody and have a breakup because that person wants to be in love and committed to Christ, you can't fault her. I would fault her if she wasn't honest, but she has been. And I know you're lonely at 38. I can appreciate that, but I've seen a few more sunrises. There will be somebody that God graces you with that will be everything and more because of what you've suffered right now. It's not permanent. You're going to transition into a love that's going to blossom, and you're going to grow in ways that you can't even imagine. And it could have been worse. You could have met somebody and gone through a very, very hideous divorce. So just know that you're loved, you're in prayer, and then don't lose hope in your faith. God is going to give you and supply you with somebody so important to you in the time that you have left in your lifetime to share. It'll be the biggest blessing of your life. So don't lose hope.
Well, Joe, I think that was really beautifully said to Brett, and I hope he's still listening because I love how you said, don't lose hope and, look ahead and God has, blessings for you. And that is true. And you could hear it in Brett's heart. I mean, Brett wants to be very supportive of this young lady but his heart is squeezing. And so that's where we've got to hold him up in prayer. Like you said, Joe, and also too, if he just dives into his spirituality, he will come out of this in a much better place, and also he'll be able to, I think, understand the purpose of it all. What do you think, Tom?
No, I think you're right on the money with that. Yeah, I just think he's just got to give it some time, and either it's this woman or another woman, God will bring someone into his life.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. But thanks, Joe. See, I love the Take Two family. Tom, I have to tell you, our Take Two family is so amazing. See, Joe's calling up because he cares about Brett, and that's how wonderful it is. And it's beautiful to lock arms together and journey closer to God together. So thank you again for calling in, Joe, and just sharing your kind words and just a sense of hope for Brett. Okay, Catherine. You're also calling in from Indiana as well, also listening on Redeemer Radio. Hi, Catherine. Welcome to Take Two with Jerry and Debbie and our guest, Tom Perna.
Hi, Debbie. I'm calling you from Huntington, Indiana. I have 3 short comments. The first one, today is the Feast of the Glorious Archangels, And as a widow of prayer, they are our models and our patrons, because we, as a religious community, the Widows of Prayer, we were formed, and this is our 24th anniversary today. My second comment is in relation to the lady who was saying that she makes pictures and she cannot always find scriptures. I missed your answers, but she might want to think about looking at the Our Lady's Litany, and then those titles of Our Lady would lead her to the scripture verses that she might want to think about. And the third thing I want to say, and then I will shut up, is I think it's wonderful, Tom's apostolate for Mondays for Mary, because we cannot begin to think of how joyous Mother Mary is in our lives. And the fellow who is grieving his friendship with the girl who has a religious vocation, later on when he's feeling less sorrowful, he can look back and say, one of my friends, and she will pray for him. She might not be in his life anymore, but she will always remember to pray for him. I can attest to that from my own personal experience without going into it. But that's all I have to say.
Well, thank you, Catherine. Thank you for that, and happy anniversary to you. And Tom, what do you think about what Catherine said about that? Must make you feel good that she had some nice words about Mondays with Mary.
Yeah, it was great. Thank you so much for those kind words. Yeah, it was.
You're very welcome.
It's been something. Oh yeah, it's been something I started in 2012 after going to grad school at Franciscan, and it's a great resource. I have a lot of people that enjoy it, and it's and especially people that don't have the Blessed Mother in their lives, because I think a lot of people think she's an obstacle, and that's not what Mama Mary ever does for us. She's never putting herself in front of the Lord. She's always leading us closer to Jesus. So that was my whole point of starting Mondays with Mary back in 2012, was to help Catholics understand her role in the church and in salvation history. And your idea of the litanies is that's perfect. That's another place she could go, looking at those different litanies.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you so much, Catherine. We appreciate the call, and keep praying for us, please. And pray for, if you can pray for the whole Take Two family and all their intentions, we would appreciate it, because we believe in the power of prayer. So thank you for that. Okay, 1-800-585-9396. That's the number to be on Unscripted today. Our guest is Tom Perna. Jerry is traveling, so we miss you, Jerry, but he's traveling hopefully safely back to the West Coast, and he'll be back on Monday. Just wanted to share some exciting news with you, because this is really exciting. This is hot off the presses. I actually just printed it out. It's pretty cool. Guess what, folks? Life on the Rock returns to EWTN TV. That's so exciting. I love Life on the Rock. So EWTN Life on the Rock is back with a brand new look, hosted by Father Mark and the Franciscan Friars of the Eternal Word. And it's obviously it's going to include the interviews with dynamic guests and spiritual insights from the friars and music videos and so much more. So it is just a great way to keep Catholics engaged in the new evangelization wherever they are. And so Life on the Rock returns to EWTN TV this Sunday. I'm going to be watching this Sunday and every Sunday. So Sundays, 9 p.m. Eastern Time, or Thursdays, 5 p.m. Eastern Time. So don't forget to tune in to EWTN TV. Life on the Rock is back. I love that. Okay, so real quickly, I wanted to just address this so that I think I'm holding on to my heart to make sure it doesn't explode. But how does Debbie feel about the NFL players taking the knee? Do you want during the anthem? Tom, can I go first?
Sure.
Okay, I think it's just so, not only so disrespectful, I think it is sending messages out to our youth and everyone else. I mean, the image of that, it's in my opinion, is so inappropriate for that time and place. If they want to create a stance or have some kind of beef with the United States, then do it in another platform. To do it and disrespecting all of the people that have given their life their blood, sweat, and tears, for them to have the ability to play in the NFL and to make that kind of income from playing in the NFL. I just think it's the wrong message all the way around. And I have to tell you, Tom, I somewhat watch a little bit of football, but I got to tell you, it's really changed my view of things.
I've stopped watching the NFL for the foreseeable future. I cannot support it. I just stopped. It was my girlfriend Megan and I were talking about this week, and just having last week we were hanging out at the house. I'm like, I can't watch this. I just can't. I cannot continue to watch these guys continue to make this display. I mean, my argument is most people who have a job couldn't protest like that at their current job. Mm-hmm. That's their job. They get paid to do that. Now all of a sudden they're making they're going to protest the American flag. And I bet you probably, I think they said 13% of the guys did it. 13% of the players did it last week. I bet you if you lined up 25 of them and asked them why they're doing it, you'd get 25 different answers.
Right.
They probably don't know why they're doing it. They're caught up in this anti-American, anti-flag philosophy that's being pushed by a certain agenda here in the country. Mm-hmm. And I think it's unfortunate that the NFL is getting caught up in it. I love football. I'm a fan of the New York Giants. Even though I live in Arizona, we're originally from the East Coast, so I still support the Yankees, the Giants, and the New York Rangers. And it's hard I can't watch it. I really just can't. I've stopped watching it. We have a lot of parishioners at the parish, a lot of the guys that I know, fellow Knights of Columbus, that stopped watching last year because of the astronomical fees, the whole Colin Kaepernick thing that happened last year. They just got tired of it. The NFL didn't say anything, and guys have stopped watching. And now I don't know what the ratings were for last night. I was working last night at the parish, so I couldn't even watch the game, nor did I really want to watch it. But I don't know what the statistics were for last night's game, if those are out that quickly. But yeah, it's appalling to me. Mm-hmm. I mean, look, I get the First Amendment. I understand it. But to do that at that place, at your job, where you're there to entertain us, I think it's the wrong venue. If you want to make change, go out and make change. Protest with other people, but don't do it there. I think it sends a bad signal.
Well, yeah. And, Tom, I've been a youth minister. Well, I was a youth minister for many, many years. And we're forgetting how our children are seeing this and what kind of example were we putting forth to them? This takes disrespect to a whole new level. And, I come from a military family, and it makes my stomach hurt. I can't even, it's hard for me to even see the other side of it, Tom, because it makes me so ill to think that they could even use this as a platform to protest. And our children are absorbing this. And now I understand it's filtering down to even high school games and elementary sports. I mean, this is really problematic on many levels for our youth.
Well, yeah, because kids are going to try to imitate their favorite players, the way they catch the ball, the way they run. Think of like baseball, the way I know kids that try to imitate certain baseball players, the way they hit, their stances. They do that, they're going to do this because
exactly,
and that's just the way it is. I mean, and the other thing too, I think I would say is, I think first and foremost we're Catholic, but we're also Americans, and being Catholic doesn't mean that you can't get involved in the political arena or the public square. I think I think the catechism even calls us to get involved in the in the public square. Mm-hmm. So we can still be, we can still love our faith, and be super Catholic, but we can also be very patriotic and be American and love our country as well. John Paul II, Pope St. John Paul II, he loved being Polish and he loved being from Poland.
Exactly.
And he loved his country. And he loved his culture, and he loved his country. I think there was, when he became Pope, one of the things he was going to miss was being in Poland. He loved his country. So I don't think there's a problem with, because I've heard that. I've heard people say, you can't be Catholic and American. And, I think you can be. And I think you can love both. But obviously being Catholic is first and foremost. But I love being American. I love living in this country. It's one of the best countries in the world, if not the best country in the world.
I do as well. I feel the same way.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Well, and I'm happy you answered. I didn't know how you were going to respond, Tom. I got kind of figured I knew, but I'm glad you passionately shared your thoughts on it, because you saved me probably a coronary, because every time I think about this subject, it's not good for my heart. Seriously, it really isn't. But again, we have another Facebook live comment from Reese, who just weighed in and said, how does one make one's faith less about feeling and more about truth? Oh, I love that, Reese. What do you think, Tom?
That's a good question.
That is a good question.
I think you have to study the faith academically, or at least intellectually. I think you have to you have to start to study you have to learn your faith. You have to learn the doctrines and the teachings of the church. I'll give you an example. When I was in high school, I went through a youth ministry program here in Phoenix at the parish that I grew up in, and my faith was purely emotional. When I was a junior or senior in high school, if someone had asked me, why do Catholics pray to Mary or pray to the saints, or any of the things that usually come up, the Mass or the tradition and Scripture and all of that, all those things that people kind of come up with against Catholics, I could not give a very good definitive answer. But when I went to college and I studied in the Great Books program called the St. Ignatius Institute at the University of San Francisco, I learned my faith in I'm going to say, academic or intellectual way. And my faith, although it's still emotional at times, it's both, I found the truth that I was looking for. I found the answers that I was looking for. So I think, either wherever this person is, see if the diocese offers like a catechetical institute where you can start to learn your faith, even if it's a certificate program. If they have the means to study at a good Catholic university, one that's orthodox and that is, shows their allegiance to the magisterium of the church. If he has that means, or this person has that means, they can do that as well. But I think studying the faith, understanding what the church teaches and why, that will help you come to understand the truth and make it less emotional. Don't think emotion doesn't play into it. I think especially with our prayer life and our spirituality. But the other thing I'll say with emotion is we got to be careful with our emotions, because emotions change, feelings change.
Right.
You could feel think about your morning. When you wake up in the morning, you feel one way, but maybe by noon you feel completely different. Right. If our faith is based in pure emotion, when we feel good about our faith, we'll practice it. But when we don't feel good and we're going through dryness, maybe in our prayer life, we may not practice the faith because we're going to say, I don't feel like going to Mass today, or I don't feel like praying today. That's my personal thoughts on emotion and feeling. Now, again, they play a role, but you got to kind of use your reason.
Right, exactly. Well said, Tom. Okay, so I think we struck a chord with this NFL because phone lines completely lit up. So we're going to get to Cynthia in Lubbock, Texas. Hi, Cynthia. We're going to try to get you on the show. You're on the air, Take Two, with Jerry and Debbie and our guest, Tom Perna. Hi, Cynthia.
Hi, Debbie, and God bless you both. I can talk really fast, so I've got so much to say, but let me see what I can squeeze in.
Okay.
As far as the NFL bullcrap, the reason for my frustration and aggravation in my voice is because I'm an NFL football widow.
Oh. Okay.
And I don't care much for all that, but all that baloney out there, I wish that every NFL fellow would listen to me today, because I'd like to say, shame on y'all. And if they're calling themselves an American, shame on them again. God forgive them for their ignorance. That's what it is. And if they ask me, they ought to get down on both knees. Instead of one knee, they need to put down the other knee and ask God to forgive them. Because that is just nonsense. And they don't know any better. And the other thing that I want to say is that if I had anything to say about it or I could do anything about it, I would ban and do away with NFL football and all the money that they get paid and all the money that goes into their so-called NFL rings and all the money that goes into that mess. We need to feed the hungry world. We have a hungry world out there. We have a starving world, kids out there that need food. That's what we should do with that money is feed our hungry world.
Mm-hmm. Wow,
so
that's
powerful. I've got a lot more to say, but that was the most important I wanted to say. And like I said, shame on them for their ignorance, because that's what it is. They're just ignorant. They don't know any better.
Well, Cynthia, this is exactly why I waited to share about this towards the end of the show, because I knew this was going to hit all of us very deeply, because we are proud of our country and all the lives that have been sacrificed in order for us to be sitting here today with the freedoms that we have. And so you're not going to get any argument from me. I agree with you. And I agree that maybe they do need, this is not a judgment, but maybe you do need to get on both knees and thank God that you have been given a God-given talent to play football and to earn that kind of living, even if it's short, like 4 years. They say is the term of a football player. But you know what? You've been given a gift, and so how about where's the gratitude? So Cynthia, what do you think about that, Tom? Maybe they should start be thanking God.
Yeah, I mean they should be, because they have a God-given talent. Most people can't do that. Very difficult to get into professional sports. It's like the 1% of the 1% to get in there. I mean, it's very difficult. I mean, It's just difficult to become a professional player, and to be able to now to use that venue to do this. I think, as I said before, I don't think it's the right venue, and the money that they make is astronomical. It's unbelievable. I mean, most of us some of us live paycheck to paycheck. We're struggling to pay bills. We struggle to figure out what bill to pay this month. And these guys have all the money in the world. So, I got to keep my emotions in check. Yeah.
Right. It's a tragedy. So thank you, Cynthia. We appreciate you weighing in on this, and Leon and Jeffrey and the others. We're so sorry. This is how fast Unscripted goes. It just goes super fast. And I wanted just to make sure I had time to thank Tom again. Tom, I know you're super busy, but our Take Two listeners love to follow up and maybe check out your ministry. And I know they can reach you at tomperna.org. Is that the best place, Tom?
That is the best place.
Okay. Thank you so much for being with us. Hope you can join us again when Jerry's on the show. I think it would be fun, and we can open up the phones again. And dear listeners, keep this in mind, okay? This is your show. This is where we lock arms together. This is a peer ministry, and hopefully by the end of each hour we get to spend with one another, we get a little bit closer to God, a little bit changed. So celebrate the Feast of the Archangels today. Have a beautiful day, and we're going to catch you on Monday when we have the next show. It's called Purge to Surge. When you purge things, when you practice that art of detachment, boy, does your spirituality surge. That's what we're going to be talking about on Monday. Catch our Best Of show this weekend. It's Whose Fingerprints Are on Your Life. That's the Best Of this weekend. But until then, have a beautiful and blessed weekend. We'll be praying for you. Please pray for us.